Pleased to greet you from the beautiful desert of Arizona. We are not far from Tucson, which at night can be seen from here. Maybe it can be seen in the daytime as well. Let me tell you who's here, reading from left to right. Here is Abigail Alling. She's 30 and a marine ecologist from the United States and will serve as co-captain of the team. She's director of marine ecological systems for the Biosphere project, that is to say ocean and marsh. Roy Walford, MD. Dr. Walford is 66. He's a physician, gerontologist from the United States, will serve as medical officer for the crew. He's a professor of pathology at UCLA School of Medicine and biomedical coordinator and chief of medical operations for this undertaking. Margaret Augustine is president and CEO of Space Biospheres Ventures. And aren't you pleased to see a woman overseeing this project? She is project director as well as co-architect with Phil Halls of Biosphere 2. She incidentally is not a biospherian, but will be, of course, monitoring the whole thing. She's not going on a vacation when these 8 people go in this. Tabor McCallum is here. He's 26, an analytical systems manager from the United States, and will serve as the same for the 2-year closure, electronic air, water, and soil tissue analysis. He's the guy with the computer and all that other good stuff. Linda Lay joins us. She gave me a tour of the Biosphere, and you'll see the work that she did with me earlier today as our program makes its way. She's 38, botanist from the United States, will be scientific director for the team. She is director of terrestrial ecosystems, that is to say, tropical rainforest, savanna, and desert. Mark Van Theo, he's 29 years old from Belgium. He will be the technical systems manager of Biosphere 2 and is manager of construction, quality control, and technical systems for the project. We do have 3 other biospherians who are not here, and we'll tell you who they are in just a moment. Okay, have you got the picture? Is this something? I'm telling you, these folks, you won't be able to use hairspray. You won't be able, I'll tell you what, McDonald's finally got rid of those non-biodegradable packages. I assure you there's going to be none of that in here. There will be no contamination. We'll have praying mantis eating those bad things in the garden. Is this a wonderful idea or not? Who's got the first question? Yes, sir.
I'm looking back into the biosphere and I'm seeing steam coming off something. Can somebody tell me about what I'm seeing back inside?
That's the fog coming off of the cloud forest.
That's the what?
The fog coming off of the cloud forest, which is one of the habitats within the rainforest biome.
We will see a closer look at that. So that is you're actually manufacturing rain in there.
We're manufacturing rain and fog. The fog is just in the cloud forest.
Who else? Yes, ma'am. Yes.
If you get in there and you don't want to stay in, can you get out, or will someone else come in and take your place?
What is the understanding? Who wants that? Why don't you take that one, Mark?
The door is not locked from the inside, it's locked from the outside. I think the flow will probably want to go the other direction.
But obviously, you're not dictatorial here. If somebody wants to emotionally give up or surrender, you certainly, they're able to. If there would be an emergency appendectomy or any other thing, any one of your team members could make his or her exit, true?
They could go through an airlock, and we also have a number of biospherians in training who are not going in for the first 2 years.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, I know how you feel. It's happened to me all the time. I'm coming back to you, though.
I'm interested in the social aspects of the program. Like, you're all single. Can 2 of you get together and have another one in there?
Yeah. You're not shocked at the question, I'm sure. Who wants it?
People can certainly get together. There's no stricture on personal relationships. In terms of babies, we will not be having babies inside of this biosphere.
Right. You all respect each other as scientists. You've all worked together, so there's certainly, you're already familiar with each other. It is not unfair to say, or misleading to say, that you enter this with deep respect for each other, but there are no, there's certainly no emotional romantic pairings at all as you make your way into the biosphere. True? That's right. True.
I'm sorry, what kind of a work day do you have, and is this a paying job for you?
You want to take the, why don't you try this, Abigail?
Yes, it is a paying job, and the workday includes many different things, practical as well as the theory and the ideas behind the study of biospherics, so it can be quite varied.
Mm-hmm. And you will be feeding information. I assume part of the information you would, to just be a little bit simplistic about this, who's in charge of the marine part of this thing?
I am.
You are, Abigail. So you presumably will, you'll have communication with quite literally mission control, true?
Oh, yes. And we also will continue our work with the Smithsonian Institute with Dr. Walter Ady, who has been involved with this project and will continue the work monitoring outside.
So you would call up in the morning and say, 2 frogs died yesterday, among other things. I mean, that's not an absurd point, is it?
It may be an absurd point. I may not say that, but yes, if there was a problem, it's something that could be discussed with the outside.
But you will be taking inventory of the various species as best you know how.
Yes.
Some of which would have to be computer analyzed, scent analyzed, if it's algae and other things. But if it would be invertebrates, I mean, this is information that has to go to mission control. Is that right?
It's information that we want to study the biosphere, and it would get to mission control. Yes, that's right.
Now, you also there'll be a hummingbird species in there. Is that so?
That's right.
Now, as I understand it, there are more than 300 species of hummingbirds. How am I doing, Linda?
You're doing very well, Phil.
Okay. Now, some hummingbirds have a beak like this. Some hummingbirds have a beak like this. Some have short beaks. Some have long beaks. The hummingbird that you selected had to be selected with an accounting for the kind of plant life that you wanted the hummingbird to fertilize. Am I still on the trapdoor here?
That's right. We had to match the beaks with the flowers.
And the determination of what beaks with what flowers was made with a consideration toward what kind of flowers which would be most promoting of an ecosystem that would ensure the life of the plants as well as the animals, human and otherwise, that inhabit it. Is that so?
That's exactly right. And if you think the project is a 100-year project, we're thinking a long term. So we're thinking about hummingbirds pollinating these plants for a long time.
Yeah.
What are they going to do with the biosphere after the 2-year experiment is over?
Stays.
After the first 2 years, we'll begin experiments on a 1-year basis.
Yes.
So the next phase will be running from 93 to 94.
Yes.
What kind of communication do you have with the outside world, like with your friends and relatives?
We have as many different kinds of communication as we can. There's video, there's telephone, there's computer mail systems, even faxes. We try to make it as easy as possible to communicate in and out.
Right.
And waving through the glass.
Right. Brian, take a long shot, will you please, of the biosphere as it sits behind our guests. And then pull back long enough if you can. Notice the dome on the right. Can you see that? I can't see a monitor here, so we just have to presume. It's so bright out here, we can't see television. And boy, that does break my heart when I can't see television. See the dome on the right? That's the lung. That is the lung, which is the largest diaphragm in the world. It is a free-floating circular disc in this dome, which rises and falls according to the amount of air being expelled from the main atrium of the biosphere itself. So that in the daytime, when the heat expands, it pushes the air into that part of the lung, and at night when it cools, the disc falls, pushing air. This is something. I want to show you, let's just take one look as Linda and I made our specific visits. Yeah, well, go ahead. Now that you're here, you got the right color hair, I better let you know.
I just want to know if they keep the temperature constant in there.
No, we don't keep it constant. We have parameters for each one of the biomes so that we can have a cold desert and a very warm rainforest.
Yes. Name the biomes. We have
tropical rainforest, savanna, desert, ocean, and marsh. And the biomes that are the human-made biomes are the agricultural biome and the human habitat.
That is to say, the apartment complex in which you will reside.
That's right.
In which you will all have privacy. And they've got a garden in here that will just make you drool if you care at all about. We're going to get there in a moment. Now, here's Linda and your host struggling to understand this thing, visiting the ocean. This is the ocean biodome of Biosphere 2. Watch this. Linda and I are in the ocean biome. Linda has told me that this is Bahama sand. No kidding, the real stuff. There's no reason to believe that we wouldn't be in the Bahamas right now. The atmosphere, the feel, the smell, everything. Now you tell me this is you've got an ocean reef out here.
That's right, a coral reef.
A coral reef, and there's a lagoon over here.
That's correct.
And you've got a beach neighborhood here that will have everything, including lizards and spiders and whatever else you might find in Bahamas,
That's right, it's a dune community.
Okay. What? Even I'm smart enough to know that you won't put a shark in here. What did you put in here?
We're bringing up corals and coral reef fishes and a lot of the invertebrates like starfish and sea urchins to go onto the coral reef. And these are coming partly from the Bahamas and partly from off of the Yucatan.
Right. Now, Linda, what good is this to a marine biologist that would not be forthcoming if he went to the Bahamas?
The reason this is really useful to a marine biologist is it gives us a system that is closed. It's not open to everything on the outside. As you know, the ocean is all connected in Biosphere 1. This gives us a small model to look at the cycling of nutrients, where the carbon from the atmosphere goes. Does it go into the ocean? Does it come out from the ocean? Where does the nitrogen end up? And these are questions that we have in Biosphere 1, but because of the immenseness of the ocean in Biosphere 1, we just can't answer those questions.
So this close-up look then will allow you to gather the information and convey it to Command Central through computers so you get a better, more focused look at marine life and the ecosystems that exist therein.
That's correct, and that can be compared with coral reefs in Biosphere 1.
Right. Will you be able to fish in here, I mean, with bait and a hook and a bobber?
We're not going to be eating the coral reef fishes. We will be eating some of the invertebrate species. We'll be eating some of the scallops and the crabs. So not with a hook, but probably with traps.
We're back outside the biosphere. Brian, I assume you've got a long shot here. Let's just remind our folks where we are. We are near Tucson, Arizona, in the beautiful, beautiful environment near Tucson, and this is also one of the most ambitious man-made projects ever. Yes.
This is tax time. Will you be paying taxes during your residency?
I assume you don't lose your citizenship.
I suspect we will pay taxes, yes. It's all arranged for.
Do you have television or radio in there?
Everybody has their own, entertainment sets, videos, TVs, radios, whatever.
Yes.
This is totally self-contained. You're not going to bring any food or anything in with you. You're going to grow it all yourself.
That's correct. Every single thing will be grown by us inside.
Phil, you mentioned that they're looking down now instead of looking up. Does this mean that there'll be provisions for their spiritual advancement inside, or?
Spiritual advancement?
Well,
I assume they'll be allowed to pray.
Well, I mean, is there worship services or church?
Well, no one else is going in there. I don't know if you've got any ordained ministers or rabbis going in there with you.
That's really up to each individual to arrange with their own rabbis or ministers before they go in.
I was just wondering if, as all of you that are going in there, what kind of special training did you do before you attempted to go into this?
Let me just try this. Abigail, what is, how'd you get into this? I mean, did you like creepy crawlers when you were a kid, or how? I'm not making fun. We could use more young women and young men interested in these issues, please.
Yes, I love creepy crawlers and crawling around in the mud flats and on beaches, and I spent a lot of time as a sailor at sea.
Yes.
I was just interested to know how the various biomes are divided up. The desert, the ocean, how are they divided up in there? Are there rooms?
There are no physical barriers between them, so they exist side by side.
They're actually separated by the geology.
What is the reason for the structural design?
The whole design of the biosphere goes along with all the functional requirements of each biome, the rainforest and so on, but there's also a lot of aesthetic considerations, the whole visual impact of the biosphere.
Yeah, my question is to Mark. How is this whole complex powered?
We have two big backup generators which are powered off natural gas. In case of an emergency, we can always go off the grid.
Do I understand?
We have actually 3 power sources.
Is it essentially a 3-megawatt generator that serves the biosphere?
No, up to 5 megawatt.
Up to 5. So the only thing then that, this is what kills me, everything in there when you go in is going to be in there when you come out. There's no vent.
That's right.
There's no little sneaky conveyor belt that you're able to go animal and human waste, as well as the plant waste and decay, will be recycled to maximum effect for use toward the fertilization or the regenerative process of the various genome in this biosphere.
Yeah.
True?
All our water cycles are completely recycled. All the air we begin with is the air we end up with, and it is recycled.
And all the water you begin with is all the water you end up with.
That's right. So the irrigation water, at one time that is irrigation water or rainwater, might be your coffee one day.
Now you do have, okay. You're laughing now. Wait till the big drought hits. Guess who's going to live and who isn't? And consider this. We've got 5 billion people on this planet, and we have a planet which can't possibly sustain what you and I would call a noble and worthy lifestyle, the entitlement of all human beings with that many people on the earth. And if this is our challenge outside this biosphere, these people go in to try to figure out ways to enhance the quality of life as well as the long-term vitality of the planet Earth, which, as we don't have to tell you, is now threatened with ozone depletion, not to mention pollutants in the air. How are we going to fix this? These people have the high purpose of thinking that this instrument, which lies behind them, 3 acres in size, about the size of 3 football fields, can lend valuable information toward the solutions to these very complicated problems. And we'll be back to Arizona in just a moment.
Yo, check this. Everybody wants to live large. It's only one way to do it. The more you learn, the more you earn.
This year, why go back to the future when you could celebrate the glorious past? This is Medieval Times Dinner and Tournament. It's a show you want to share with friends again and again. Hour after hour of entertainment, and who knows who'll win tonight. Medieval Times Dinner and Tournament, the show that's become a legend. Ask about our kids-free special. Some restrictions apply.
Pete Ellis fought for great deals this year. Pete Ellis has been outrageous with great values, but now everything goes during the great Pete Ellis year-end closeout till December 31st. $91 down delivers. No monthly payments till February 91. New cars at just $59.91. LA's favorites at just $12,991, including full-size van conversions, Jeep Cherokees, even Aerostar XLs with air and automatic. At Pete Ellis Ford, 91 Freeway, Lakewood exit Bellflower. Also, Pete Ellis Chrysler Plymouth Hyundai, and Pete Ellis Dodge Jeep Eagle Long Beach Freeway, Firestone exit Southgate.
The anatomy of an expensive soup. Gourmet Pride. Gourmet Pride gives you lots more than the low-price soups. More white meat chicken, more shrimp, more beef, more fresh-tasting vegetables, and more noodles than even cup of noodles. It's not surprising that people are willing to pay more for Gourmet Pride, but now they don't have to. Thanks to Gourmet Pride's new 25-cent coupon, Gourmet Pride really isn't expensive after all.
The more you know about the trauma of divorce on children, the more you'll appreciate United Fathers of America. With over 50% of today's marriages in this country ending in divorce, this nonprofit organization is determined to help parents remain a meaningful part of their children's lives. They provide a crisis hotline, attorney referrals, workshops, and counseling. By reinforcing their rights as fathers, this self-supporting group helps those considering a divorce or custody action.
We're at the Biosphere outside Tucson, Arizona. I want you to see now, Linda, Lay, and I we've just been to the beach. Now you'll see us in the agriculture biome. This is where they'll grow all the goodies that they'll be eating for the next 2 years. They're not coming out. Here's the piece we taped earlier today. Linda, this is a gardener's fantasy. Just tell us what you've got here. This is rice, obviously.
Yeah, this is a rice paddy. Here's where we're growing the rice, and we're going to have the tilapia fish also living within the rice system. To our right, we have bean plants, and there's some amaranth coming up between the bean plants. There's some wheat on the other side, some lucina for forage for our domestic animals. We've got peanuts planted, soybeans planted, coffee, bananas, papaya.
What do you expect? What's the main covered vegetable product here for the survival of the human people within the experiment?
Yeah, our main vegetational or vegetarian cuisine will be with rice, peanuts, sweet potatoes, white potatoes, beans.
Right. Now, you're not going to use any pesticides?
That's right.
You'll use no artificial chemicals?
Yeah, you have to understand that in the system where material materially closed. Nothing is going to leave the system or enter the system after the 8 biospheres going in. Biospherians go in. And if we put a pesticide on the plants today, it'll come back in our food and our water tomorrow.
Now, have you actually selected all the insects that will cohabit this environment?
We've selected a lot of them, yes.
I know when you say a lot of them, you expect some to come in even if they weren't invited.
That's right. We have some uninvited guests.
Do you have praying mantis and
We have praying mantises. We have ladybird beetles. A lot of the predatory insects that will feed off of our problem insects.
And if someone were to even so much as spray right guard in here, it could ruin the whole neighborhood, couldn't it?
Well, right guard will certainly put some things into the atmosphere that we don't want in the atmosphere.
How do you filter the water in the air?
How do you filter the water in the air? Boy, have I got a guest for you. Meet Robert G. Hahn, Director of Marketing and Product Development for the Biosphere experiment. Incidentally, this is commercially available, is it?
This is. We will have it out in January.
And this is also the technology that you're using in there.
The Biosphere 2 soil bed reactor will purify the air in your own home or office.
Okay, give us your shortest sales pitch. We're ready.
As you know, a lot of our cities are polluted, and recent EPA studies show that inside the home or office, the concentration could be tenfold. This unit with specially developed suite of microbes and plants will purify the air in your home or office.
I don't understand how. You mean just the photosynthesis and the emission of carbon dioxide from the plant itself does this?
These specially selected plants and the specially developed microbes in the soil actually break down the poisonous chemicals in the air and give you pure air to breathe.
And have you got this in there?
We've got this in there, and you've got it out here now.
So this would be one commercial synergistic fallout from this experiment that you hope, one, might pay for the enormous cost of the experiment, and also create new jobs and cleaner air for the folks at home.
Exactly.
But you're going to have to be just a little more specific with not much time, Mr. Hahn. What, or maybe it's Dr. Hahn. I don't know. Maybe. All right, fine. I don't understand. You know, you've got to have more than soil down here. What does the job?
Inside the soil is a specially selected suite of microorganisms that actually break down the chemicals in the air and purify the air. These are a specially developed suite of microbes that we've developed in the biospheric development for Biosphere 2.
These weren't genetically engineered. They are found naturally in the universe?
They're found naturally, but they're specially selected by the biosphere scientists.
Right. And they're little microbes that go and eat up bad stuff and emit good stuff. Is that right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, that's what I got my PhD in biochemistry. You think I don't know anything? Squiggly is a word you'll find in a advanced text on thermodynamics. How you doing?
Hi, I'd like to know who's going to continue to fund this after the first 2 years. Is Mr. Bass going to, or does the United States government have to take over?
Margaret.
Well, we're a venture, so we hope to have a lot of spin-off technology from the Biosphere, as well as the visitor center, bringing people in and getting the education experience, and we expect that that will pay for the ongoing experiment and operations of Biosphere 2.
Can you give us the latest round figure cost estimate of your undertaking here, the 2-year experiment in which the 5 biospherians adjacent to you are such an integral part?
Well, the whole experiment of the Space Biospheres Ventures Biosphere 2 is over a $100 million project.
And Mr. Bass, what's his first name? I forget. I get the Basses mixed up.
Mr. Edward Bass.
Edward Bass is into this for about $35 million. Do I understand that?
Well, he is one of the principal investors in our financing partner of the venture.
And you have no public money in this thing at all?
No, no public money.
Yeah.
Yes, I'd like to find out how Arizona was selected as the site for this fantastic project.
Yeah. Incidentally, Dr. Walford, they'll never call you an egomaniac. You better get in here. What do you want to tell us? You're the gerontologist, you're the physician, you're the guy they're going to come to when they got a headache and a bad back. Tell me, what is it about the topography, the environment here in Oracle, Arizona, that's particularly suitable?
Well, we need a lot of light because we're growing plants and a large space, and this area was available and fulfill those conditions well.
Yes.
I was wondering if all that glass takes out the ultraviolet rays, if it has to be something to be replaced, or you just get along without it.
It does take out the ultraviolet rays. They don't have to be replaced in general, as far as we know. That's not an entirely known problem.
Yes.
I was wondering how these people up here were selected for these positions they have.
Margaret?
Well, There's 8 people, and there's probably 8 major areas within the biosphere, as well as people being able to have overlapping responsibilities. Everybody has emergency medical training. There's a number of people that work in the agriculture systems, the marine systems, so they're specialists in at least one area, and they're able to be generalists in many areas.
There'll be mosquitoes in there, won't there?
Yes, there will be mosquitoes.
And I assume that, honestly, this thing is so well researched. The scholarship that went into the choice of the more than 3,800 species that have been placed in this biosphere has been so minute and so thoughtful that you may or may not want to swat a mosquito in there. Is that so? I mean, does it get that fine? Linda?
It's certainly something one would think about on the inside of the biosphere. We do have
You may
predators,
want
though.
all the mosquitoes you got. You may.
We may want them. They'll be good food for some of the fish.
On the other hand, you may have a wild colony of mosquitoes that are reproducing too rapidly, and I assume you can bring your own artificially selective intervention into that situation if it occurs, so?
That just might be a management decision we'd have to make, and it might just be swatting them.
Right. Now, now tell them the name of the fish that's going to be the chicken of the sea.
The tilapia fish will be the fish that's grown in the agriculture biome.
The tilapia fish is especially valuable because it has minimum spine and maximum fillet, huh?
That's part of it, yeah. It also is very free of disease.
And it will spawn, and you assume that it will strike its own balance in terms of its own reproduction so that it will coexist within the environment. You will also monitor, just to name one more species, the survival or the reproduction numbers of this fish to ensure that it doesn't become so many that it destroys the balance of the environment in the neighborhood in which it flourishes. Is that so?
That's exactly right, yes.
Uh-huh. And we'll be back to Oracle, Arizona in just a moment.
Think you can mix a bowl of cereal with more vitamin and mineral nutrition than Total?
I know I can. Add a little bit of this, a little bit of this.
You're missing calcium.
Let me add a little bit of this.
Too little iron.
Iron, huh?
A bowl of all those put together can't top one bowl of Total. One bowl of whole wheat Total has 100% of 12 essential vitamins and minerals. For all this nutrition, nothing can top Total.
How about a little bit of this?
Nothing.
Where can you buy $30 twin sheet sets for only $14.99? Who can possibly sell queen and king sheets for $9.99? America's leading linen specialist, Stroud's, of course. It's Stroud's year-end half-price sale and clearance with savings up to 70%. Wamsutta and Cannon Royal Family, only $14.99. Queen and king sheets from Dan River and Wamsutta, only $9.99. The best linens money can buy. No one has more than Stroud's, and no one sells them for less.
Here's wishing you a holiday toast.
All the best.
Skål.
Here's mud in your eye.
Tojo.
Nostrovia.
L'chaim.
Santé.
Designated driver.
Have a happy and safe holiday season from all of us at Channel 4.
You don't have to put off taking off that extra weight any longer. Now, lose all the weight you can at Nutrisystem for only $99. That's right, just $99. There's a right way to lose weight. Nutrisystem, 1-800-321-THIN.
Don't miss the after-Christmas savings at the Broadway. Save 20 to 50% store-wide. The after-Christmas sale and clearance going on now at the Broadway.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Linda Alvarez. Here are some of the stories that we're working on for the Channel 4 News at 4. Another bombshell hits the LA County Sheriff's Department. This time it's about Sherman Block's health. Nancy Cruzan leaves a right-to-die legacy, a warning about menopause misdiagnoses, and just how big are the crowds taking advantage of the after-Christmas sales. All the news at 4. Join us.
This is a portrait of depression. You lose the ability to function in the world around you. You turn away from family and friends. Your eating and sleeping patterns change dramatically. but depression can be treated. Call us. We're a source of information here in your community, and we can help you find the help you need.
Walt Disney Pictures presents the high-flying, heart-stopping roller coaster ride of the year.
Did we lose anyone back there?
It's all new and all fun. It's The Rescuers Down Under, rated G. And from Touchstone Pictures, it's 3 cheers for 3 men and a little lady.
I look like a dwarf.
The movie Good Morning America calls totally different, but every bit as fun as the original.
Isn't it fun?
It's 3 men and a little lady, rated PG. And The Rescuers Down Under, playing separately at theaters everywhere.
You asked for it. More multi-million-dollar prizes than ever from American Family. They won millions. Now, enough new multi-million-dollar prizes are at stake to fill the map with American Family multi-millionaires. Millionaires by the dozen at American Family. The only big prize sweepstakes with my picture. Look for my picture. You can win the $10 million prize I'll award in just a few weeks. That's fast, so you be fast. Enter today.
We're back in the Sonora Desert in Arizona. This is Oracle, and this is the place of the Biosphere, to which, incidentally, the public is invited. I want you to see this. Here's Phil and Linda. Linda does everything she can to help Phil understand this thing. No small challenge. Watch this. We're in the technosphere. Here's the so-called basement, for lack of a better word. Here's where all the pipes and the machinery and the, you know what I mean, all the industrial stuff that makes this thing go. Roll this tape, Ryan. We're in the technosphere, you know, the pipes and all the industrial technology that make the entire ecosphere work. Here in the basement are stored grasses, so?
These are the grasses that we harvested from up in the savanna biome. And we harvested these because the grasses were getting gigantic. We're drying them here, we've cut them up, and we'll put them back as a mulch on the savanna so that we don't lose the nutrients.
And those back there are for animal consumption?
That's all forage, lucina, for forage for the animals that we've harvested up above in the intensive.
I'm always saying not much time, but it's never more true as here. But this is so fascinating. There's so much to show you. Mulch, tell me.
Yeah, this is the compost machine. And we have actually an apparatus for making compost, which speeds up the process of decaying all of the vegetable material that we are consuming ourselves and that the animals aren't consuming.
So all the dead or waste matter from the vegetable and the animal inhabitant life forms here, including liquid and solid waste, is somehow finds itself in the mulch deposit, which is later used for fertilizer. How am I doing?
Actually, not all of it goes here. Some of the animal waste, liquid and solid, goes into the marsh recycling system, which is just a little bit farther away from here. And that makes marsh plants, and then the water goes back on as irrigation for the intensive agriculture.
But you have no garbage truck that's going to come up here for the 2-year experiment and take the dumpster away.
No, we have to use everything.
Everything that's in here when you come in here is in here when you leave.
That's right.
Okay. Just very briefly, let's walk with purpose here. Linda, tell me what's going on here.
These are all sweet potato harvests that we made about a week ago.
Yeah.
And
What's
we're going
this?
to be storing that. This is a sugar cane press. This is how we'll be getting our sweeteners.
Okay, we want to show you the water storage area over here. Here is something that's going to be very hard to reproduce in space. But just give them the briefest picture here.
Yeah, these are all the storage containment for water. In all of the biomes, we have wet seasons and dry seasons, and also in the intensive agriculture, we have wet times and drier times. And so we have to store the water during the dry season somewhere. We don't have clouds. So we store them in the tanks right here in the basement of the intensive agriculture.
But you have no outside water source.
That's right, no outside water source.
So when you enter this biosphere in March, all the water that you're going to use is here, and you have created an environment which will, like the cloud and the tree and the rainforest, give you new sources of water as a result of currents, air currents and cold air and so on. How am I doing? Is I close to this?
That's right. This is our aquifer right here. You could say we're in the aquifer, the groundwater of the system, and we can draw on this when we need to.
And it's also purified after use.
It can be purified. We use the condensate water for our potable water, and that's purified in several different ways.
Okay, I want to make sure, just stand over here for a second. One more thing. Tell us about the steel seal here.
The entire biosphere is underlain with stainless steel, and if you look over there, you can see that it's all welded and it's tested so that there's absolutely no escape or input of any kind of water or gases into the biosphere. We're completely closed from the outside world.
Guys.
Yes.
All right, you talked about the food. Now, who decides on the dinner and who cooks it?
We rotate that. Everybody cooks in rotation. one at a time, and the food is put together by computer programs so that we achieve maximum nutrition. It'll be probably the best diet mankind has
But
ever
isn't it going to
eaten.
be bland?
It's going to be
Doctor?
delicious.
You think so, really?
Yeah. Oh, it's going to be great.
I bet you don't have one Haagen-Dazs in there, do you?
Oh, but we can make ice cream if we want.
How was the Biosphere born? Whose idea was it?
I'm one of the conceiver or founders of the idea. There was about 4 people that put together the whole complexity of the project.
Yeah. Margaret, just give us, you are concerned, like not a few other people. Thousands of people are joining up every day in the ecological war. Tell us how you feel this might contribute and what you see as afflicting the planet as it exists outside this biosphere.
Well, I think that the Biosphere 2 has this potential of creating this new paradigm or new image of how we could create or redesign our world, our cities, our houses, our communities. And I think that if we look at 100 years down the road, if we want to put new habitats on space, we don't want to bring New York City or Los Angeles or Tucson or Phoenix as it is today. We really want to take the best of our technology and the best of our biology and create this new partnership.
Not under a glass cage, but bringing the information that you gathered in there to the real world as it exists today so you can promote its long-term survival and make for happier inhabitants. Is that so?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, did you have a lot of people that wanted to be biospherians?
Well, 5 years ago, everybody didn't think that the biosphere would really happen, and so most of the biospherians are part of the staff, but now I get a lot of requests for people to be biospherians.
What is your relationship with NASA? Do you talk to them? Haven't some people from the government and NASA made fun of you, and are you getting along okay here?
I think we have very good relations with NASA. We just did a joint publication and a conference we did together, and we're interested in the work that they're doing in the closed systems, and I think they're very interested in what's going to be the outcome of this project.
So that if we were to colonize the moon first, that colony might look something very much like the structure that appears behind you right now.
Well, I don't think it'd look like the structure, but I think what it would be is the system itself might be part of what we'd have on the moon or Mars or in near Earth orbit.
And we'll be back in just a moment.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Linda Alvarez. Coming up on the Channel 4 News at 4, firefighters battle a blaze that's already destroyed 2 popular Valley stores and sends up pillars of smoke visible for miles. It wasn't rain that caused a major mudslide in Brentwood, seriously damaging 2 homes. The cold weather is the culprit for frozen pipes and widespread problems in Antelope Valley. We'll have the latest. And the Christmas feast isn't over at the zoo. We'll show you all the news at 4. Join us.
The lowest prices of the year at Levitt's.
Imagine only $79.99 buys your choice of these open stock bedroom pieces. Twin headboard, nightstand, 3-drawer chest, small hutch, hamper, or mirror. Other pieces also sale priced now. During Levitt's lowest prices of the year.
Your best Christmas present will arrive after Christmas. The C&R After Christmas Sale. On now.
If you're looking for the perfect vacation spot, you can find a lot of resorts with non-stop action. But there's only one resort that's virtually free, the Flamingo Hilton in Laughlin, Nevada. Stay 2 nights for $40, and we'll give you $40 back in Flamingo money. If you're going to take a vacation, what could be more fun than not having to pay for it? Call 1-800-HILTONS. Offer good before January 31st, based on availability.
On the darkest of nights, he appeared to unlock my secret fantasies and inflame my deepest passions. He took me out of the dark and into the shadows.
Dark Shadows, the movie, Sunday, January 13th on NBC.
the new sound of romance. Yanni, Reflections of Passion. Available on Private Music.
Here we go. With not much time left, I want to show you the pictures of the three biospherians who are not here. Jane Pointer will be one of the 8 who will enter this structure next March for 2 years. She's a 28-year-old ecological manager from England and will be manager of intensive agricultural systems. That's where we visited just a moment ago. She's managed both the SBV prototype intensive agriculture systems during research stages of the Biosphere 2 project. That is to say, she oversaw experiments in similar environments that were not necessarily large enough to be inhabited by humans. So they've done a lot of work on this thing before before it all begins next March. She's also coordinated the implementation of the Biosphere 2 intensive agricultural biome. Sally Silverstone is also joining this group. She's 35 years old from England. She'll serve as information systems director on the Biosphere 2 team. You don't want to go anywhere today without a PR person. Sally is SBV controller and manager for the architectural division for Biosphere. Bernd Zabel is also joining the team. This is Bernd, a picture of him. He's 41-year-old electrical engineer from Munich, Germany. He will serve as captain of the Biosphere 2 crew. He's general manager of construction for SBV Space Biospheres Ventures and directs construction for the Biosphere 2 project. Hey, listen, I'm not a smart aleck, but I want you to know something. You heard it first from me. This thing is going to leak. You know, it's got to. Come on. It's too large not to.
It's going to leak 1% of the volume per year, and the lung, as well as adjusting for the variation in pressure and temperature and so on, will also be a positive pressure. So if you see any leak, you can actually measure it and fix it.
Okay. Yeah.
Regarding their diet, what means of energy do they use to prepare their foods?
You're going
to have a kitchen, right?
That's right. It's electricity.
Yes.
I'd like to know any specifics about a specific experiment that's going to go on that we can expect direct results immediately to benefit our lives.
Cleaning of the air is one of them, and you saw the results of some of this. Air cleaning. So cleanups of pollutants in the air.
I want you to see this, our final visit inside the Biosphere with Linda. Here we are at the place where they're going to live, and it isn't finished yet. Watch this. We're in the habitat sphere. This is where you're going to live.
That's right.
Actually, we're standing. First of all, show them the model, Brian. Here's a model of what this will look like when it's finished, which it quite obviously is not yet. Let me repeat that this experiment begins in March, and Linda's just one of 8 people who will reside in Biosphere 2 for 2 years on Noah's Ark, 1990 version. 1991 version. Okay, the animals will be here, you tell me.
These are the domestic animals. So this is the pigs and the goats and the chickens will live right here. The humans are going to have their apartments right above us in the next floor up. My apartment is right over there, so I can see the sunset.
Right in the corner. You got a corner room?
Exactly.
Very nice.
More apartments up above. Our analytical laboratories, our medical facility, our control rooms are all located all around the tower. And up in the top of the tower, we're planning on having an observatory, so we can actually start looking at the stars.
Right over here.
Ways that we might get out into space. That's right.
Will there be a pool table in this place, or?
I don't think there'll be a pool table. There'll be things like Go games and chess games. We'll be able to swim in the ocean, so we'll get plenty of exercise. We'll have exercise equipment as well.
You'll be able to swim in the ocean that we visited a little while ago.
That's right. Exactly.
VCRs. Newspapers. What about current events?
We may be able to scan those in on our computers. A lot of our work will be through computers. We plan to be as paperless as we can be.
So once you seal the door after you enter here, the ideal is to not to break that seal at all for the 2 years of the experiment.
Exactly right, but we'll be open informationally, which means information can travel between the inside and the outside very quickly. We'll have computers to do that, telephones, video communications.
Right. So, will the public be able to come here and look at you like some strange alien creature through the windows?
The public will be able to come and look at us. I hope they don't think we're strange alien creatures. But anyway, they'll be able to see us in certain areas around the biosphere.
Right.
This area around the habitat for the animals, you'll be able to look into. There'll be glass around the outside. People will be able to come up in certain viewing notches in the rainforest and also in the desert. So you'll be able to come up very closely and look at each of the biomes and see the biospherians at work on the inside.
Okay. I want you to come with me now as we go to the lung, which is right over here. Here here is the lung about which maybe you've read. Watch this. This is, feel that coming out here? Hello! Explain now. Hello. Echo. Explain what's going on here.
We're inside, actually, of Biosphere 2 right now. And as the air on the inside of Biosphere 2 heats up, it expands, and that expanded air comes in here and raises this pan that you see above us. As the air cools in the evening, the pan lowers.
And when you say pan, is that actually free floating now?
That's floating on air. You see the black butyl rubber all around us is like a donut.
So that will expand up and down just like a lung.
Just like your lungs, yeah.
And
precisely.
at night when that part of Biosphere 2 cools, this will contract, forcing air back into the other unit of Biosphere 2.
Exactly right, and that does two things. Well, three things, actually. It prevents us from having a super strong material for the biosphere to withstand the pressure of the expanding air. It also lets us have a slight positive pressure towards the outside of the biosphere, so if there's a leak, we're losing air rather than bringing in air and contaminating the inside. And another thing that this does is it allows us to look at any kind of a leak rate that we might have in the biosphere.
Right, but you get no new air at all from the outside.
That's right. What we put in when we enter in March is what we will have in 100 years.
You don't cheat and take any air from the outside environment into the biosphere for the entire 2-year experiment.
There won't be any cheating for 100 years, not just the 2 years, for the 100 years.
Brian, just to make the point, give him that long shot again as the sun begins to set over Biosphere 2. See the dome on the right? That's the lung in which we taped that piece just a moment ago. Obviously, it's connected with a tunnel that transfers the air back and forth according to the need of Biosphere 2.
I have a question for after being shut up in a controlled environment for so long, do you expect it to have any effect on your immune systems?
I expect when we all come out, we'll get colds very quickly for about 2 weeks, but that's all. The immune systems will persevere.
Right.
The project is controversial in many ways, as all major initial scientific projects. If it were not controversial, it would be uninteresting.
Right, but aren't you worried about virus in there? I mean, if you sneeze in there, the whole colony of human animals gets pneumonia. Aren't you worried about that?
Everybody will get immune to everybody else's viruses very quickly. And
so
there
your
won't be
immune
any more
system will
viruses.
enhance its capacity to fight off germs while you're in there, is that it?
While we're in there, I suspect it will.
Uh-huh. A person has spent already a week in there, and the first thing she said when she came out was, "It stinks out here." We'll be back in just a moment.
You, a millionaire, 10 times over just weeks from now. Sound good? Then look for the only sweepstakes with my picture and the $10 million I'll be awarding very soon. Last chance. So be sure to enter now.
A cheese riddle. Excuse me, Giorgio. What do you get when you add mozzarella to an ordinary tomato? Something to sing about. That's right. Cheese makes it taste better. So don't forget the cheese.
Your children are your greatest asset. And the more interest you show, the more their self-confidence will grow.
Pete Ellis fought for great deals this year. Pete Ellis has been outrageous with great values, but now everything goes during the great Pete Ellis year-end closeout till December 31st. $91 down delivers. No monthly payments till February 91. New cars at just $59.91. LA's favorites at just $12,991, including full-size van conversions, Jeep Cherokees, even Aerostar XLs with air and automatic. At Pete Ellis Ford, 91 Freeway, Lakewood exit Bellflower. Also, Pete Ellis Chrysler Plymouth Hyundai, and Pete Ellis Dodge Jeep Eagle Long Beach Freeway, Firestone exit Southgate.
My mama told me you better shop around.
Hurry before everything disappears at the close time January clearance sale.
Deck those women in close time gear. New low prices are spreading cheer.
close time.
At these prices, everything's going fast. It's the close time January clearance sale.
Were you interviewed to decide whether you'd be compatible for the 2 years?
We've all worked together for a number of years, and it's come about naturally.
1 minute left.
How many years did you go into experiment before you really started the building?
Well, we started the project in '84.
Yes.
Tell me what you anticipate being the greatest challenges, or once you're in there, anything that's...
Yeah. Give us some idea. Anybody?
Many things to run, many problems. 8 people have to run an entire mini world.
Yes.
How will you dispose of a body?
Good question.
Well,
took the words right out of our mouth.
I think if I die inside, I'd prefer to be recycled, and the others can speak for themselves.
Will you take vitamins?
Will you take vitamins?
We may have some vitamins, but there's plenty in the plants.
Yes.
Couldn't we have used a substantial sum of money that went into Biosphere 2 to improve our planet Earth today, and not such long-term benefit?
I don't think this is long-term, and I think Biosphere 2 is going to improve Biosphere 1 today.
Biosphere 1 being the real planet Earth. You'll stand.
What were some of the problems that you encountered when you went in for your trial month period each?
Some of them were mechanical systems, getting some of the mechanical systems up and running just the way we wanted them to run.
Right. Will a computer locate a leak in this huge 3-acre facility?
We actually have the computer system is hooked up to the whole leak detection system.
Services provided and promotional fees paid by the following.
Light bright, turn on the magic of colored lights.
Kids just pop in the colored pegs to create favorite characters or their own light pictures. Light Bright from Milton Bradley.
Just a little reminder that Franco-American gravy is made with natural meat stocks and juices.
Accommodations for today's show provided by the Biosphere 2 Conference Center. Both full conference facilities and daily tours are available by calling 1-800-828-2462. Transportation for Mr. Donahue and staff provided by Arizona Limousines, a full-service ground transportation company serving Scottsdale and Phoenix, a member of the Music Express Limousine Network.